going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel, and today we'll be reviewing the Crows and Port Adelaide clash at Alberton Oval that happened yesterday for the second JLT game. Well, how good's that, Port fans? After 1,000 days of not beating the Crows since 2015, we finally have done it. Although it wasn't a JLT game, but nonetheless, it was a brilliant game at Alberton Oval yesterday, and it was so good to see our boys take on the game and come through with a win after being down by 26 points. A 52-point turnaround after half-time. Port Adelaide ended up winning by 26 points after what thought, okay, another JLT game, down a bit, we'll just coast through, try and conserve any energy, any injuries. But we put our foot to the floor and took it up a gear, and it was certainly great to watch in that second half. The first half was a bit I mean, there were some good plays, but we just couldn't be efficient inside our forward half for the first half. In the second half, we seemed to do that with a special mention to Jack Watts, who kicked 6 goals. An unbelievable effort, showing all the Demons supporters out there that he's capable of more than what he produced at Melbourne, and he just wasn't given a chance. Speaking of Jack Watts and the new recruits, they look at home. They looked at home yesterday at Alberton Oval. Stephen Motlop was playing pretty good footy. Trent McKenzie in the second half came on, had 10 disposals, and was just great off half-back ever since Pittard went down. Jack Watts, as I said, 6 goals was an enormous effort for him. 17 disposals and 88% efficiency. That is definitely what we need in our game this year. And to be efficient, it's going to take us a long way in 2018. And Jack Watts certainly proved that he's capable of many, many things. Basically, the whole day was bloody hot. 35 odd degrees. It was just a hot day, and it was a hard-fought game in the heat as well. And it was something. It was almost a showdown pressure. But I think once it, the second half, it died down a little bit. It was just a little bit conservative. Port Adelaide definitely didn't want to be conservative in that second half, and hence the reason we turned it around to win by 26 points. Especially watching the second half, I thought our ball movement was quoted at the time fresh. It was different, and I noticed something as well. We looked to go into the corridor more, where our last hope was to go down the line. That was the last thing we did. And if we looked to go into the corridor and there was no option, then we'd head down the line. But we just attacked the corridor. And if that's the game we're going to play this year, certainly I'm looking forward to watching that for 22 to 25 games. Especially for a JLT game, this was an interesting start. 434 possessions. That's plenty of possession. Plenty of the footy. And it showed with DBJ having 31 possessions, Justin Westhoff 27, 26 to Robbie Gray. A lot of players just had a lot of the ball. 430 possessions in a JLT game is almost unheard of. And if we're playing possession footy and trying, to bring everyone into the game, I like that idea of game style. And as long as we can convert, then I'm definitely happy dominating the possession and dominating the play, which is certainly something that we would like to be doing more times than not. There was a couple of negatives throughout the day, though. I think, as I said before, our efficiency going in the forward half and the first half was a little bit odd. It was a bit down. 19 shots from 48 inside 50s. It wasn't our best conversion going inside, but when we did eventually convert, it was really, really accurate. 16 goals, 2 for the day. That's unheard of from a Port Adelaide perspective. Really unheard of. I don't think we saw that at all last year. I think the lowest behind count we kicked last year was 8, and that was in round 1. We're averaging like 12 or 13 behinds a game. It was just ridiculous. So for us to kick 16 goals too, it proves they've been focusing a lot on set shots and having a shot at goal. And if 16 goals too comes along every week, I think we'd be winning more games. Our inside work was a bit odd, and skill work was a bit odd around the ground. It was just not working in the first half, and I think Ken Hinkley said in his press conference it was all about method, it wasn't about personnel. It was just our method that we got wrong in the first half, and it changed in the second half. And from what I watched, it was certainly a big difference in the two halves between the Port Adelaide sides. And I think the additions of the players that came on in the second half, we took Wingard off, we took, I think there was another player I cannot remember, we took off as well. And then we just brought on some fresh blood, and we just changed the dynamic of it a bit, and it was certainly good to watch. And if we can, more times than not, keep that method going throughout the game and play that four-quarter footy, which we've lacked over the last few years, especially against top 8 sides. But, you know, all in all, that game was sensational. I think the Crows certainly have a lot of good positives to come out of that one for their fans. And I know I shouldn't be talking about them a lot, but you know what? They're a pretty good side, and with the addition of Gibbs and stuff like that, they'll definitely be up there in the season. So to get the win over them in the JLT game is good. A lot of confidence going into round 1, and it's just going to help us carry a lot of momentum. Because a win at the end of pre-season certainly boosts the confidence of the fans, boosts the confidence of the players, and just everything involved around the club. And it's certainly something that we did yesterday. We did it last year too, and we went into the season pretty good. Pretty happy with the way we were going. So definitely yesterday's a bigger positive than anything. So what did we learn from yesterday at Alberton Oval? The game itself. Good to have a pressure game back. I think certainly it was great to watch yesterday. Hunting around the ball, players like Stephen Motlop, who was just in and out of the play. Carl Amon was pretty good in the second half as well. Justin Westhoff, I think I'm going to highlight here. He's still got it. He's still at it, Justin Westhoff. And I don't know what people are talking about that he's done and dusted. That bloke is old enough now that he could retire, but he's having 27 possessions in a game. Can't explain it. Beard magic? Maybe. Not sure. But that's just insane for Justin Westhoff, who is 31 years old, and he's just still dominating. And he hit the scoreboard too yesterday, which is a really positive sign. I really like when Westhoff hits the scoreboard. It means that we're getting everyone involved, and when he hits the scoreboard, you know, there's a bit of momentum. There's a bit of positive going around the place, and Justin Westhoff, he needs to hit the scoreboard. He's a true forward. I know he floats around and attacks all parts of the game, but he's a true forward, so when he gets his chance, he's got to take it and kick a couple of goals, because it just boosts the whole team morale. Another thing we learned, Alberton Oval is the heartland of the Port Adelaide Footy Club. We learnt yesterday with the announcement of the new precinct upgrades and all the development they want to do around the ground, which is sensational. I think like a $35 million upgrade, approved with the help of the government as well. That's just sensational. It's going to bring a whole new, it's going to bring the community together for the Port Adelaide Footy Club, and it's definitely going to be something to be a part of in the coming years for our 150th anniversary, which is in 2020. So I'm really excited for that. So hopefully we've got another cup in that precinct by then. One key thing I wanted to point out was, will we miss Robbie and Jasper for round 1? Obviously Jasper Pittard did his hamstring yesterday. Robbie Gray's already suspended for round 1. I know we're playing Fremantle, but I don't want to underestimate any team, especially in round 1. You just don't know how it's going to go. You'd assume that we'd win quite comfortably, but he's saying now, who knows? So I think we'll miss Robbie Gray's, for me, a 2 to 3 goal difference. Jasper Pittard adds something in that back line. We've got replacements for both. And, you know, but no one beats Robbie Gray. He's an absolute star, and Jasper Pittard in his own right as well. He's gonna keep at it and keep improving, so they'll be missed round 1. And yeah, that's overall just yesterday's game in general. To wrap this up, I mean, Jack Watts, just phenomenal in his second game for the Power. He's definitely going to be a good addition to the team. How much impact he has, like yesterday's game, throughout the year will just depend on how he plays and how we're going. Patrick Ryder was just dominant again over Sammy Jacobs, and Sammy Jacobs is losing a bit of his touch, I feel. And Dougal Howard, I was really impressed by as well. Went forward, kicked a goal, 18 possessions or so as well, and just going to be that great centre-half back that we've been looking forward to. DBJ as well, he 31 possessions off half-back with his pinhead haircut. That was sensational to see. Him and Dan Houston both shaved their heads. Now with Sam Powell-Pepper also with his head bald. I think we've got a lot of boldies on our team now. I mean, I know Robbie Gray went through his unfortunate circumstances, but he looks good with his haircut, doesn't he? Well, Port fans, that wraps up this review of the Port Adelaide versus Adelaide JLT Game 2 match at Alberton Oval. No votes for the JLT games. I thought this is just pointless. Because everyone I thought played well yesterday, and I feel like that going into the round 1, we're going to be an absolute beast of a team. I'm really excited for round 1. We're only a couple of weeks away now. I hope you enjoyed this review. Please comment below what you thought of the game, how you see players tracking, and what do you feel going into the season ahead. There'll be a Port Adelaide season preview coming out next week, just before round 1. Also get excited because the previews on the channel are going to be building up as well. And also the Porches podcast, which is 8 PM Wednesdays SA time. Tune in then for our latest podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in, Port fans. My name is Anthony, and obviously, Karma Pair.